Section 9 of English Synonyms and Antonyms. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. English Synonyms and Antonyms by James Champlin Fernald. Appendage to artist. Appendage. Synonyms: accessory, accompaniment, addendum, addition, adjunct, appendix, appurtenance, attachment, auxiliary, concomitant, extension, supplement. An adjunct, something joined to, constitutes no real part of the thing or system to which it is joined. Though perhaps a valuable addition, an appendage is commonly a real, though not an essential or necessary part of that with which it is connected. An appurtenance belongs subordinately to something by which it is employed, especially as an instrument to accomplish some purpose. A horse's tail is at once an ornamental appendage and a useful appurtenance. We could not call it an adjunct, though we might use that word of his iron shoes. An attachment in machinery is some mechanism that can be brought into optional connection with the principal movement. A hemmer is a valuable attachment of a sewing machine. An extension, as of a railroad or of a franchise, carries out further something already existing. We add an appendix to a book to contain names, dates, lists, etc., which would encumber the text. We add a supplement to supply omissions, as, for instance, to bring it up to date. An appendix may be called an addendum, but addendum may be used of a brief note, which would not be dignified by the name of appendix. Such notes are often grouped as addenda. An addition might be matter interwoven in the body of the work, an index, plates, editorial notes, etc., which might be valuable additions, but not within the meaning of appendix or supplement. Compare accessory, auxiliary. Antonyms: main body, original, total, whole. Prepositions: that which is thought of as added we call an appendage to. That which is looked upon as an integral part is called an appendage of. Appetite. Synonyms: appetency, craving, desire, disposition, impulse, inclination, liking, longing, lust, passion, proclivity, proneness, propensity, relish, thirst, zest. Appetite is used only of the demands of the physical system unless otherwise expressly stated, as when we say an appetite for knowledge. Passion includes all excitable impulses of our nature, as anger, fear, love, hatred, etc. Appetite is thus more animal than passion, and when we speak of passions and appetites as conjoined or contrasted, we think of the appetites as wholly physical, and of the passions as, in part at least, mental or spiritual. We say an appetite for food, a passion for fame. Compare desire. Antonyms: antipathy, aversion, detestation, disgust, dislike, disrelish, distaste, hatred, indifference, loathing, repugnance, repulsion. Compare antipathy. Preposition: he had an insatiable appetite for the marvellous. Apportion. Synonyms: allot, appoint, appropriate, assign, deal, dispense, distribute, divide, grant, share. To allot or assign may be to make an arbitrary division. The same is true of distribute or divide. That which is apportioned is given by some fixed rule, which is meant to be uniform and fair, as representatives are apportioned among the states according to population. To dispense is to give out freely, as the sun dispenses light and heat. A thing is appropriated to or for a specific purpose, to which it thus becomes proper in the original sense of being its own. Money appropriated by Congress for one purpose cannot be expended for any other. One may apportion what he only holds in trust. he shares what is his own. Compare a lot. Antonyms: cling to, collect, consolidate, divide arbitrarily, gather together, keep together, receive, retain. Prepositions: apportion to each a fair amount, apportion the property among the heirs, between two claimants, apportion according to numbers, etc. Approximation. Synonyms: approach, contiguity, likeness, nearness, neighbourhood, propinquity, resemblance, similarity. In mathematics, approximation is not guesswork, not looseness, and not error. The process of approximation is as exact and correct as every point as that by which an absolute result is secured. The result only fails of exactness because of some inherent difficulty in the problem. The attempt to square the circle gives only an approximate result, because of the impossibility of expressing the circumference in terms of the radius. But the limits of error on either side are known, and the approximation has practical value. Outside of mathematics, the correct use of approximation, and the kindred words approximate and approximately, is to express as near an approach to accuracy and certainty as the conditions of human thought or action in any given case make possible. Resemblance and similarity may be but superficial and apparent. Approximation is real. Approach is a relative term, indicating that one has come nearer than before, though the distance may yet be considerable. An approximation brings one really near. Nearness, neighbourhood, and propinquity are commonly used of place. Approximation, of mathematical calculations and abstract reasoning. We speak of approach to the shore, nearness to the town, approximation to the truth. Antonyms: difference, distance, error, remoteness, unlikeness, variation. Prepositions: the approximation of the vegetable to the animal type. Arms. Synonyms: accoutrements, armour, harness, mail, weapons. Arms are implements of attack. Armour is a defensive covering. The knight put on his armour, he grasped his arms. With the disuse of defensive armour, the word has practically gone out of military use, but it is still employed in the navy, where the distinction is clearly preserved. Any vessel provided with cannon is an armed vessel. An armoured ship is an ironclad. Anything that can be wielded in fight may become a weapon, as a pitchfork or a paving stone. Arms are especially made and designed for conflict. Army. Synonyms: armament, array, force, forces, host, legions, military, multitude, phalanx, soldiers, soldiery, troops. An army is an organized body of men armed for war, ordinarily considerable in numbers, always independent in organization so far as not to be a constituent part of any other command. Organization, unity, and independence, rather than numbers, are the essentials of an army. We speak of the invading army of Cortes or Pizarro, though either body was contemptible in numbers from a modern military standpoint. We may have a little army, a large army, or a vast army. Host is used for any vast and orderly assemblage, as the stars are called the heavenly host. Multitude expresses number without order or organization. A multitude of armed men is not an army, but a mob. Legion, from the Latin, and phalanx, from the Greek, are applied by a kind of poetic license to modern forces. The plural legions is preferred to the singular. Military is a general word for land forces. The military may include all the armed soldiery of a nation, or the term may be applied to any small detached company, as at a fort, in distinction from civilians. Any organized body of men by whom the law or will of a people is executed is a force. The word is a usual term for the police of any locality. Arraign. Synonyms: accuse, censure, charge, cite, impeach, indict, prosecute, summon. Arraign is an official word. A person accused of crime is arraigned when he is formally called into court, the indictment read to him, and the demand made of him to plead guilty or not guilty. In more extended use, to arraign is to call in question for fault in any formal, public, or official way. One may charge another with any fault, great or trifling, privately or publicly, formally or informally. Accuse is stronger than charge, suggesting more of the formal and criminal. A person may charge a friend with unkindness or neglect; he may accuse a tramp of stealing. Censure carries the idea of fault, but not of crime. It may be private and individual, or public and official. A judge, a president, or other officer of high rank may be impeached before the appropriate tribunal for high crimes. The veracity of a witness may be impeached by damaging evidence. A person of the highest character may be summoned as defendant in a civil suit, or he may be cited to answer as administrator, etc. Indict and arraign apply strictly to criminal proceedings, and only an alleged criminal is indicted or arraigned. One is indicted by the grand jury, and arraigned before the appropriate court. Antonyms: acquit, condone, discharge, excuse, exonerate, forgive, overlook, pardon, release, set free. Prepositions: arraign at the bar, before the tribunal, of or for a crime, on or upon an indictment. Array. Synonyms: army, arrangement, battle array, collection, disposition, exhibition, line of battle, order, order of battle, parade, show, sight. The phrase battle array or array of battle is archaic and poetic. We now say in line or order of battle. The parade is for exhibition and oversight, and partial rehearsal of military manual and manoeuvres. Array refers to a continuous arrangement of men, so that all may be seen or reviewed at once. This is practically impossible with the vast armies of our day. We say rather the disposition of troops, which expresses their location so as to sustain and support, though unable to see or readily communicate with each other. Compare dress. Arrest. Synonyms: apprehend, capture, catch, detain, hold, make prisoner, restrain, secure, seize, stop, take into custody, take prisoner. The legal term arrest carries always the implication of a legal offence. This is true even of arresting for debt. But one may be detained by process of law when no offence is alleged against him, as in the case of a witness who is held in a house of detention till a case comes to trial. One may be restrained of his liberty without arrest, as in an insane asylum. An individual or corporation may be restrained by injunction from selling certain property. In case of an arrest, an officer may secure his prisoner by fetters, by a locked door, or other means effectually to prevent escape. Capture is commonly used of seizure by armed force, as to capture a ship, a fort, etc. Compare hinder, obstruct. Antonyms: discharge, dismiss, free, liberate, release, set free. Prepositions: arrested for crime, on suspicion, by the sheriff, on, upon, or by virtue of a warrant, on final process, in execution. Artifice. Synonyms: art, blind, cheat, contrivance, craft, cunning, device, dodge, finesse, fraud, guile, imposture, invention, machination, manoeuvre, ruse, stratagem, subterfuge, trick, wile. A contrivance or device may be either good or bad. A cheat is a mean advantage in a bargain; a fraud any form of covert robbery or injury. Imposture is a deceitful contrivance for securing charity, credit, or consideration. A stratagem or manoeuvre may be of the good against the bad, as it were a skilful movement of war. A wile is usually but not necessarily evil. E'en children followed with endearing wile. Goldsmith, Deserted Village, line 184. A trick is often low, injurious, and malicious. We say a mean trick. The word is sometimes used playfully with less than its full meaning. A ruse or a blind may be quite innocent and harmless. An artifice is a carefully and delicately prepared contrivance for doing indirectly what one could not well do directly. A device is something studied out for promoting an end, as in a mechanism. The word is used of indirect action, often, but not necessarily directed to an evil, selfish, or injurious end. Finesse is a specially subtle contrivance, delicate artifice, whether for good or evil. Compare fraud. Antonyms: artlessness, candour, fairness, frankness, guilelessness, honesty, ingenuousness, innocence, openness, simplicity, sincerity, truth. Artist. Synonyms: artificer, artisan, mechanic, operative, workman. Artist, artificer, and artisan are all from the root of art, but artist holds to the aesthetic sense, while artificer and artisan follow the mechanical or industrial sense of the word. See art under science. Artist thus comes only into accidental association with the other words of this group, not being a synonym of any one of them and having practically no synonym of its own. The work of the artist is creative, that of the artisan mechanical. The man who paints a beautiful picture is an artist. The man who makes pinheads all day is an artisan. The artificer is between the two, putting more thought, intelligence, and taste into his work than the artisan, but less of the idealizing, creative power than the artist. The sculptor, shaping his model in clay, is an artificer as well as an artist. Patient artisans, working simply by rule and scale, chisel and polish the stone. The man who constructs anything by mere routine and rule is a mechanic. The man whose work involves thought, skill, and constructive power is an artificer. The hod carrier is a labourer. The bricklayer is a mechanic. The master mason is an artificer. Those who operate machinery nearly self-acting are operatives. End of section 9.